Hello, Lagos. Make we yarn.
Hello, boy, if this POS matter, don't pass your call. Person go swipe, alert no enter. Before you know it, jump.
Wait, wetin really happen?
Maybe you fake alert the warriors.
Okay, so wanna listen, If you dey do POS business, no expose your alert.
Hello, Ogbuefi. They don't walk that bar road where they warrior for our local government for years.
This one sweet me, I no lie you. Because you know why? Development wey dey work, it deserve loudspeaker. Now why we dey here be that? For here, we no dey abuse, we dey bring solution. My name, it is Ikechukwu Oyemike, aka Ogbuefi Ishegwari.
Make we yarn every weekday from 10 a.m. go to 12 o'clock on Top the Eye 95.9 FM.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is SOUQ business landscape.
Welcome back to SOUQ Business Landscape. Keep sharing, like, and drop your comments on our YouTube page, SOUQ News TV. Yes, we're still on federal government borrowing, and I was asking Dr. Daosa how these bonds have transformed into productive infrastructure and economic growth, and you were shedding light on that.
Yeah, the point I was trying to make is that we're seeing a lot that government is doing at the moment, and many of them really quite very productive because the connectivity of the nation is quite very, very important. And the bigger problem that we have in the nation is that there are not enough rail lines, there are not enough good roads connecting the various states of federation together. And therefore, movement is always not as easy. So we're seeing a lot of all this thing happening, even within the little resource that the state is able to mobilize. So to that extent, for me, I think that if we are able to do the road along that Badagry axis, the rail around Eastern Corridor, and we're looking at the Kano-Kaduna, the Akwanga, Gombe Road, all these things done well. At a very large extent, it will improve the connectivity of the nation. And that, of course, will generate a lot of economic activity. You just need to get to the coastal road and see what's happening there in terms of how properties are changing rates and value addition. So to that extent, I don't think that we are borrowing for consumption, especially also looking at the nature of road that the Minister of Work is trying to enforce in the country. There are roads that can last you for a very long period of time, as against what we used to have, that you do a road today by 2 years after rain, 2 rainy seasons, then of course the roads are terribly bad. But these concrete roads portend capacity to last for several years. And so which means in 10 years, 20 years to come, you may not be spending money doing those roads again because they are well made. So this, for me, are things that government is spending on, and then, of course, we must also have to commend them. Apart from the social scheme, that's also trying to make people have access to good life.
All right, so do we get to see less or zero external borrowings from here on for the rest of this administration?
Yeah, we cannot talk about zero external borrowing.
Subnationals also, does that stop them?
Subnationals will have to borrow. You see, government is about borrowing. It's only very few government that does not borrow. And you can check that and confirm that there's no government in this whole wide world that is not owing. Even the almighty China is owing. America is owing.
Definitely.
So there's no government that is owing. In short, when you look at American debt to GDP ratio, You see, it's over 120%. So that's massive. So even the most prosperous countries are owing. Now, you imagine a country where there's so much poverty, so much unemployment, lacking infrastructure, whether they are health infrastructure, educational infrastructure, and then, of course, the level of productivity is very low, so you cannot but expect that country will continue to look for funds to meet the everyday yearning and aspiration of its citizens. And I think what people are more concerned about is not whether people borrow, is the level of transparency in borrowing, accountability, and then, of course, the integrity systems that are put in place to ensure that all the monies that are borrowed are channeled into the purpose for the borrowing. And I think that is where a lot of people are quite worried.
All right, thank you for that. Let's move on to the next story. The federal government has defended Executive Order 9, stating that it reinforces constitutional custody of Federation revenues and does not confer legislative powers on the president. In a statement issued on Monday, February 23, 2026, Taminu Yakubu, Secretary of Implementation Committee on Executive Order 9, rejected claims that the directive amounts to the president's making law. He describes such interpretation as misreading of constitutional and public finance provisions, insisting that the order aligns with existing legal frameworks governing revenue management. Officials maintain that Executive Order 9 is aimed at strengthening fiscal accountability within the Federation. Now, for those of you who do not understand, Executive Order 9 basically means all Federation revenue must go into the Federation account. That's basically it. But why do people, when this order was given, NNDPRA and the rest of NURPC, they came out saying that, no, they resisted this particular order. Why do you think they are resisting this? Is there any thing we are not privy to?
Well, there's no way those agencies of government will not protest, especially when you look at it in line with the PIA, Petroleum Industry Act, that actually made provision that there should be some certain retaining of some sorts of revenue generation by the agencies of government. What that means is that it actually allowed them freedom of flexibility in terms of quickly accomplishing some projects. But again, like I've always said, Robert Klitgard says the formula for corruption is when you have excessive monopoly plus discretion, and accountability is absent, then that's how corruption manifests. That's the definition of corruption. So when you have agencies that have so much of monopoly, and then of course there's also discretion, and there is little accountability, or integrity system is not even in place, and transparency is absent, what you will see is some level of malfeasance that can happen in that system. And I think that's what government is trying to prevent. Don't forget that, of course, the Federal Revenue Allocation Commission has also been worried about the inflow of the money that is coming into SOUQ. So they've been trying to look for where leakages are coming from, and see whether those leakages can be blocked. So to that extent, the Federal Executive Council set up a committee to actually look at all the retained money in revenue-generating agencies, and see what can government do to see that the money that's supposed to be in the Federation account, which of course both state, local government, and the federal governments are entitled to, are coming to them. But people talk about executive order. Executive order is not a law, it's an administrative tool.
Yes.
Because Section 5(1) sub 1 and A of the Federal Constitution of Nigeria 1999 as amended had actually empowered the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria with executive authority and power to ensure that the executive arm of government is managed and solely by him. And so he is the actual one who empowers all the MDAs, whether the directors, DGs, and then of course you can call them CEOs of government institutions, head of agencies, ministers. They are all appointees of government, and therefore they actually exercise their mandate on behalf of the government. And of course, executive order is not something that is strange to federal kind of government or presidential arrangement of government. And governments use it to ensure that they can manage the public trust that is committed to the president. And I think that is what it is. So it's not making a new law, but all it's trying to do is to ensure that the law that is made is protected and that money is not just being used without being accounted for. But you come to think about it, really. You have 30% that is retained of profit by NIPC. This money are not budgeted officially. There are no oversight over this money, how it's spent. And then, of course, if you have to wait for the tree of audit and you look at our audit strategy, which is quite very, very slow and post-mortem in its outlook, which means if you have finished spending money, before government can come to review that spending, it will take like 2 to 3 years or 4 years. As we speak, the result, the audit that the Public Account Committee is considering today is the audit of 2022.
But doctor, why is it that we don't get to audit every fiscal year, which should be done normally?
Well, it's not as simple, because when you look at Public Finance Management Act, it also says that the level of authorities that agencies of government had to...
Bureaucracies.
Yes, so a lot of bureaucracies are built into that system. And of course, you see, the agencies have to, first of all, consolidate whatever thing they have, audit it internally, forward to the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation. You imagine Nigeria has between 800 to 1,000 MDAs.
Yes.
And each MDA is coming with basket of expenditure. And for the audit firm to finish considering those expenditure, you will find that it will take a whole lot of time. And that's why you see it's always post-mortem. I remember sometime in March 2023 when the Public Account Committee was being inaugurated. I was in that meeting because we facilitated a training session for members of that committee. And one of the things that the chairman of Public Account Committee of the House of Rep lamented was the fact that their work looks very useless because it's post-mortem. You are dealing with something that happened about 2 or 3 years ago. And then, of course, you cannot immediately effect correction so that things that are happening last year can be changed today. So these are the issues that government needs to deal with. And then I think the only way to be able to monitor this thing is what government is trying to do, that let all money come into one basket, and then from the basket we can distribute to those who need. And to that extent, it's more transparent. Government, the president himself can have oversight of what is happening, and we know how much comes into the Consolidated Revenue Fund or the SOUQ, and then, of course, how much everybody is getting, and then people can plan within that space. If you are a revenue-generating agent, and then, of course, you have cost of collection, and then, of course, cost of collection you set aside. But then, of course, by the time your salary and overhead are paid from government coffers. So how do we use this other money? It's at the discretion of those who run those agencies. And I think that's what government is trying to avoid. That's why all this kind of corruption that has affected most of these agencies happened because of this excess money that they have in their hands. So government is trying to see how to curtail this thing. So it's not making a new law. And if people feel that the executive order of government is ultra-vires, they can actually also approach the court. And of course, to the extent to which it disagrees with the provisions of the constitutions or the enabling acts of some of all these agencies, the courts of land can set aside those orders and it will be upheld.
All right, so in your words, who gets to control this basket, and how do you ensure transparency in this basket?
Yeah, there's a commission that looks at that basket and see what comes in, and is constituted of all the both government structure, whether at the state level, the federal level, and then of course local government. Everybody in that commission, the unpack, Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission, come together to see what come in, from what agencies are they coming in, how much are statutory deductions, what is going here, what is going here, and then the rest is shared between the federal and the state government.
Okay, so 2 questions. Is there an expected amount from each MDAs and agencies that this is the particular amount we're expecting? And if that particular amount or any other amount does not come in, what happens? Any repercussions? What follows next?
Yeah, government really don't have such a directive that you must produce certain amount. What the directive says is that if you are a fully funded agency of government, all the monies that you make, 100% should go into the TSA, Treasury Single Account.
How do you monitor that?
You don't need to withhold any form of it in your hand. Now, if you're a partially funded agency, which means government is not taking full responsibility of your operations, and then, of course, you also have to pay for some of your operation. Then, of course, government say certain percentage of all your revenue that's generated should go into TSA. And the purpose is to ensure that there's transparency, there's accountability in the mobilization of government resource. That is what it is. So every agency of government, they know. So if you are fully funded, which means government pays everything around you, and you are within the budgetary cycle of government, then of course you don't have the authority to retain some fund or revenue that you make. But some of these agencies are not fully funded agencies. Because they are not fully funded agencies, there's a law that empowers them to be able to do some certain things with their revenue. But what government is actually after is to see how transparent is the cost of collection, for example. I used to say to people, so when people look at National Assembly and say, oh, they are the ones spending all the money that we have. I said the budget of the National Assembly is not up to the cost of collection of 3 MDAs of government. Take, for example, custom, now Nigeria Revenue Service, and
airports of
NPCL. So those 3 agencies alone, not airport, those 3 agencies alone, custom, NRS, and then of course NPCL.
What about Port Authority?
No. I'm just talking about these 3 agencies alone. Their cost of collection that is retained is more than the budget of the National Assembly, all put together. So you see the kind of money that we're talking about here. So it's not small money. And that's what government is trying to ensure, that in its administration, that there is transparency in how that money is held and used.
In seeking transparency, do you think any mechanism should be put in place to ensure that the amount that is actually generated is being remitted? I mean, we have the likes of customs declaring 1 billion and the rest of them.
Yeah, but when you see those declarations, you also know that within those 1 billion, there's also the cost of collection, which they retain. So, but it's also good that government know what constitutes this cost of collection, for example. Take, for example, these issues that we're talking about, the executive at 9, where government is also looking at frontier exploration retainership fund, which means every revenue that NPCL sees, they retain some certain money for exploration of gas and crude.
Okay.
Now, to what extent is this exploration going on? How do we spend this money to show that we're actually using this money for exploration? So these are the things that government needs to know, that these monies are not just kept to go into somebody's private pocket. And these are the reasons why, of course, over the years, for over 30 years, we didn't see significant investment in the oil and gas sector in Nigeria. Even when all these things have been in place. And then, of course, this money we cannot see where exploration is going on and now this thing is being spent. So what government is trying to do is to clean up the entire system, so become transparent as possible. So I look at it and said, okay, this is what is coming into NNPCL, and this is how much they are remitting. And then, of course, from the Federation account or the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the federal government, then disbursement are made to these agencies, and then they can do or solve whatever problem that they have. But most importantly is to see that some of this money that, of course, these agencies by law are clear to be retained, government also need to have an oversight over it.
All right, let's move on to the next story. Farmers across the country may scale down operations or boycott the upcoming planting season as rising input costs and falling produce prices erode profit margins. The warning was issued by the president of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria, Mohammed Mogaji, in an interview with correspondent. Now, Mogaji said that many farmers are reconsidering participation in this year's farming circle due to mounting losses and unsustainable production expenses. He cautioned that reduced planting activity could affect food supply and market stability if urgent measures are not taken to address challenges facing producers. Doctor, we've discussed about this several times, and now they are coming out to say that they might have to scale down.
Well, I don't know what that means, and I think we should just have to be on the same place, looking at our problem and look at way of solving the problem. I don't know if farmers refuse to go to farm. Maybe they are going to take up a new industry that they are going to be working in. I don't think that is the solution to the problem that we currently face. And I think the farmers themselves also will need to come to terms with the reality. And that reality is the fact that there's a problem and all hands have to be on deck to see how to solve that problem. What's the problem that Nigerians face? Nigerians face serious food crisis. And that food crisis was aggravated by the fact that the previous administration decided that, of course, it was not going to give effect to some certain categories of import and the rest of it, and then to discourage importation of certain things to encourage local farmers. And government maintained that policy, and the cost of food stuff got out of the reach of the average man, which, of course, is even the real worst situation. Now, at that time, you see people were buying a bag of beans for between 100,000 to 150,000. Then, of course, the farmers were very happy because they were making so much money.
Yes.
But the man who is working and earning a fixed salary for a period of time, but is not able to live. So the role of government, like I've always argued, is to mediate between its citizens. That's the role of government.
Yes.
It's not to hold one citizen to be beaten by another. And I think the farmers must also understand this responsibility, that if they are producing food at that exorbitant price, somebody will have to buy it. And if people don't have money to buy, it will be the most discouraging part even for the farmers. Although some have argued and say, oh, government can take those from farmer. And then, of course, government doesn't have money to do this. Government go to borrow money to take this thing for farmers so that citizens can buy them at low price. Those arguments may not be able to hold water. And I think the fundamental question to answer here is, why is it that the food that is coming from outside is cheaper than the one that is produced inside? That's a fundamental question that Mogaji should answer.
But, Doctor, can we have another redefined anchors borrowers program? Because these farmers are actually, they have a good claim here.
We don't need an anchor borrower program.
What policy intervention can we do?
You see, I don't think it's policy intervention. I think that the farmers themselves must also support research into what they are doing so that we can increase the yield for farm produce in Nigeria, which is a major problem. We've argued this on several occasions. Take, for example, somebody says if you're going to produce an acre, make an acre of farm in Nigeria, and then, of course, you have to produce rice, it's between 1 ton to 1.6 ton of rice that you can get out of it. But if you are doing same, elsewhere in Thailand, you can get up to 6 tons. You see the difference? So which means there's more yield in an acre of farm in Thailand than in Nigeria. So what we should be asking for is how do we increase the yield?
The yield.
And that will go a long way in reducing the cost of production. So it's not about whether the doors are open, government should close the door, or government should buy fertilizer for farmers. It's how do we increase yield? And the farmers themselves must be concerned about that. And how do we support research institutions in Nigeria with funding to see that we can see what have these people done differently that makes their yield to increase. And then how should we replicate that in our own environment so that we can see farmers, if they have 1 acre of land and they can have maximum yield, and then of course, they can also recover or recoup the cost of production.
Would that also translate to low-cost production because they are complaining of high-cost production?
Yeah, but because it's high cost because of the yield. So which means if you want to produce 6 tons of rice, rather than cultivate 1 acre of land, you may need to cultivate 3 acres of land or more to be able to get up to 6, which of course, somebody who is cultivating 1 acre elsewhere will just 1 acre. So you look at it, what manpower, for example, that you will use in cultivating 1 acre and the manpower that you are going to use in cultivating 3 acres, it will increase your cost of production. Now, when you look at the fertilizer you are going to use in 1 acre and the one you are going to use in 3 acres, it will increase the cost of production. So fundamentally, the problem is the problem of yield, and that is where we should focus.
How can local government step in? Because we've always talked about local government supporting their community.
Well, local government stepping in. The truth is simple. What is the issue here? The issue is yield. So if you have more yield, then of course, farmers will get the benefit for it. So whether it's state or local government, is to see how do we support research into increasing farm produce yield in Nigeria. That's the bottom line. And that's what people should be asking for. So because, take for example, Dangote is producing urea and selling across the globe.
Yes.
They are not buying it at a cheaper rate than what we are selling here.
Definitely.
In short, as a matter of fact, it should be cheaper here because of the logistic that is involved in transferring or transporting this urea to maybe places like America or places like Indonesia or places like Thailand. So they're actually buying fertilizer higher than us. So there's no evidence to show that these people are having lower cost of fertilizer than we do, because it's general importation and export that's happening here. But what is the difference is where research, for me, is the principal thing. We must have to focus on research. Whether it's the state government, whether it's the local government, whether it's the federal government, we must invest in our research institutions such that when we have products that are peculiar to a geography, we can start to study those products and see how we can improve yield, how we can improve seedlings for maximum yield. Once you do that, you will be able to answer these questions from this other side. So intervention is not always the issue. What is the problem is that how do we get involved in research? How do we support the existing research institution so that they can be much more functional in terms of solving the problem of food scarcity that the country tends to face? Because when you look at it, the elementary law of economics, which is demand and supply, is that if you have high demand and there's low supply, prices are likely to go up. But if you also have massive supply and, of course, demand is not effective, prices are likely to come down.
Yes.
So a lot of people are producing as much as possible. I remember those days we used to talk about international politics and say somehow government produce so much rice in America that some of them they have to take into the ocean to go and dump so that they can stabilize the price. Can we get to that point where, of course, we are having so much grain that we say we cannot eat all of them because we want market price to stabilize? So for me, the cost of production is a function of the level of investment in research and technology.
All right, research is the way to go, according to Doctor. Now, let's move on to the next story. The Association of Power Generation Companies has rejected claims by presidency sources that 2.8 trillion naira represents a newly verified and final settlement of legacy debt owed to electricity generation companies. In a statement issued on Monday in Abuja, the association described the assertion as inaccurate and misleading, titled APGC Position on Misleading Reports regarding Genco's debt reconciliation. The statement was signed by the Chief Executive Officer, Joy Ogaji. She said that 2.8 trillion naira figure did not arise from any officially included reconciliation process and urged those behind the claim to disclose the basis of their computation. Now, the association maintained that discussions on outstanding debts remain unresolved. Is it miscommunication, or because we had the report that the president settled some amount of debt to this Gencos, and now they are coming out to say this is a misrepresentation. Where's the miscommunication here?
Well, I think it will just be in the interest of Genco to take the 2 trillion that the president has graciously agreed to give to them, because that speaks to the reality. You see, we have lived in a country that was governed by a lot of opacity, where costs are not verifiable.
Yes.
And some of these charges and claims can actually not be substantiated with the level of the deliverables of this company. And I think Gencos understand this reality, that these invoices, some of them, can they actually account for them? It was like the same situation we had when we were doing the fuel subsidy regime, where like Sanusi, now the Emir of Kano, once argued, while it was CBN government, that Nigerian port that has no capacity to receive one vessel of petrol in a day had a situation where CBN had invoices of 9 vessels arriving on the same day and offloading their product. So what that means is that as long as you can generate an invoice and somebody sign it for you, then it becomes the authentic debt of government. But I think what the government has done is they should understand that they are dealing with an auditor as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria who understands the role of forensics. They would need to prove beyond reasonable doubt that they actually are owed 6 trillion. So what government has seen is that the fact that, look, because the expert has gone into it to look at it and review this debt and say, look, it's not up to 6 trillion. And so what is feasibly owed is what government is willing to pay, not the bogus amount that Gencos are claiming. So these are the issues. You see, the way things are done in this country is quite very pathetic. That people will just take advantage of the loopholes that are present in these systems and then exploit it for their own private purpose. And I think that is quite unfortunate. Absolutely unfortunate. Yes, we talk about Gencos they are generating, and some of all these things were things that were actually not taken. And then you're actually asking government to come and pay for it because they were not used. So you say because you produce it, government should come and buy it and pay for the losses. That is what you're actually asking government to do. Government say, no, I'm not going to pay for losses. I'll pay for actual use, because government is paying electricity bill for what they use, which is the truth. So government is owing DISCO and they are paying DISCO what they owe to DISCO. And you are asking government to come and pay subsidy to you. Government say, I can't pay subsidy. You should be self-sustaining. That's what it is now for them. So if you are generating 5,000 watts, then ensure you sell the 5,000 watts and get your money.
But
and you are also owing massively the gas company. So what government is even emphasizing is that even this one we are going to pay, we want you to go and pay the people you actually took gas from. So how do we balance
this?
What they are owing the gas company and what they are claiming the federal government is owing them?
This unresolved GENCO debt, do you think it might affect electricity supply in the future?
Well, I don't think so. I don't think so. I just think that people should come to reality that we are at a crossroad as a country. Revenue is not flowing in yet the way people want to see it. And so government has to be frugal in how it spends its money. Government has to be frugal in how it spends its money. But don't forget that GENCO itself is also a government entity. And so government has access to all the records and the book. And these figures that we're talking about were figures that predated even the privatization exercise that was done by government, which was in 2010. So you are carrying, even in accounting principles, they are what they call bad debt. Principle of bad debt. So get to some certain level and say these debts, they are bad because even the bank itself has written them off their books. So we must understand what we're asking, and people must be realistic. You have inherited so much, there's so much wastage that government has put into this GENCO to even generate. How much profit is it coming to government? So these are questions that we have to fundamentally answer, not people just looking at. The same is happening even in the discourse where you see the bills that were not paid for 20 years, they are still collecting it today before they can give you electricity. After they have sold all the assets that PHN ever had. So these are the kind of environment where you find yourself that people are not as transparent as you want them to look like.
If you say this is a bad debt, how will this GENCO survive? I mean, we still have a...
So how do they survive up to today without the debt? That's a question to actually ask.
How do they explain?
Why are they still in operation? If the debt is that significantly impacting, why are they still in operation?
What about infrastructure upgrade? How will they get by?
Yeah, but government is also investing in infrastructure upgrade for the GENCOs. Yes, government is investing in infrastructure upgrade for the GENCOs. You see, and that is what for me, is the government should just sell GENCO to private investors.
Would that be a solution to epilepsy?
Oh yes, it would be a final solution. So everybody buy electricity. So they can produce what they can sell.
But if you say we should sell it, government is in charge, private sector is also in charge. And if we are seeing the result, don't you think it might be worse off if it is totally sold?
You see, some of all these arguments, they are difficult to actually balance. Those who are generating and sending to the national grid could tell you, this is what we generated, this is what we supply to the national grid. But we also see what the discos are taking from the grid. So basically what you're asking government to pay for is the waste. And government is saying that I can't pay this so much money for waste. How do we manage it so that we can ensure that it is what we need, it is what we are generating? And then we don't need to pay for waste.
And what is costing these wastages?
Yeah, but you see, if you say, oh, you are generating 5,000 megawatts as at today, and discos are taking about 2.5, which is 50% of what you generate. So some of these losses, you say, come from transmission.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them is what is generated that is not used. That's what it is. But are we really sure that we're even getting up to 5,000? That these people are actually contributing 5,000? Or it's just a matter of documentation? That's what should be established. And I think that's what government is anchoring. So they can't say government has no basis of reaching the amount that it says it's going to pay. Government has done its audit. He engaged foreign auditors to look at this document and look at their feasibility, whether they were possible. So they are rejecting the audit report. Why would they reject an audit report? If they have things contrary to the audit report, then they should throw it in the public domain to contradict what the auditors have found out. That's a question. So you can't just claim and say, okay, because you put 66 trillion, and therefore that 6 trillion must be paid against. But government said, yes, you said we are owing you, but we want to validate what we actually owe. So you set up an audit firm. An audit firm is telling you this is exactly what is owed. You know, it's like the case of Fortune and audit. So this is what it is. So government contract auditors and auditors had come out with a finding, and government is finding it difficult to see and accept the auditor's report. So this is the issue that Genco had to face, except that they have to produce an auditor's report with the necessary document that actually said that this 6 trillion is actually legitimately owed them.
Quite interesting here. Doctor says total sale of Genco. What do you think? Drop your comments on our social media page as we go on a short break here. And when we come back, we'll continue with SOUQ Business Landscape. Stay tuned.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, you know, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is SOUQ Business Landscape.
When you visit Lagos for the first time and Google fun or recreational places in the city, at the top of that list will be Freedom Park. Located in Lagos Island on Broad Street, Freedom Park over the years has become home to the Nigerian arts and the culture at large. From annual big shows like the Lagos Theatre Festival, celebration at the Lagos Poetry Festival, to local festivals that celebrate literature, music and arts. Freedom Park is one of the most visited recreational sites in Lagos, for both local and tourist people alike. A place to mingle, unwind, or simply just have fun. Freedom Park, however, hasn't always been a place of fun and games. It has a history that dates to 1861, when Lagos was made a British colony. In 1885, Freedom Park was built as a fortified prison from imported bricks. It was referred to as Her Majesty's Broad Street Prison. Some prominent political prisoners were held in the prison, people such as Herbert Macaulay, Michael Imodu, and Obafemi Awolowo. In 1979, Her Majesty's Broad Street Prison was destroyed, reduced to a dumping ground. It was later rebuilt in the 1990s, celebrated in 2010, Nigeria's 50th Independence Day. Freedom Park still holds a bit of its history within its walls. In the museum, where there are pictures and artifacts. Some of the old prison facilities have been converted into leisure facilities that people visit and enjoy today.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, you know, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is SOUQ Business Landscape.
Welcome back to SOUQ Business Landscape. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has uncovered counterfeit and unregistered cosmetic products valued at more than 3 billion naira at the Apt Trade Fair complex in Lagos State. Now, the discovery followed an enforcement raid, according to an update issued by the agency. NAFDAC said the operation forms part of ongoing efforts to clamp down on circulation of unsafe, unapproved consumer goods in the market. The agency reiterated its commitment to protecting public health and warned distributors and retailers against dealing in counterfeit products. Investigations and regulatory actions are expected to continue. Doctor, I saw the video on Sunday, big warehouse, fake counterfeit cosmetics, worth about 3 billion. Now you can imagine if that had gone into the society, into the economy, the health hazards.
If it has, can we ascertain the volume that is already there? Because they didn't start production that day. It's already in the market. And this was what Dora Akunilo, blessed memory, tried to fight.
And she said it fought back.
Oh yes, massively. And that is the absolute inhumanity of man to man. You imagine that people just want to make money at all costs. I think that it is time that government made very, very stringent consequences for people doing this kind of acts.
The China way?
I think so. I think so. Even if you are not going to kill them, they can be in life imprisonment. If we are free to kill people. Because these guys are murderers in disguise.
Yes, they are.
Murderers in disguise. And it's not just in terms of cosmetics.
Yes. Even baby food.
Medications.
Baby food. They gave
food, drinks. And they are all over the places. From Idumota here to Onitsha market, to all the markets that were now being seen in Kaduna, all of them are involved. And there are 1,001 individuals who are producing from their own room that NAFDAC will not even be able to see. That's part of the problem. And what's the net implication of this? We have pressure on our healthcare system. You see young men, young women today becoming victims of cancer, all manners of allergies. And the more sickly people become, the more pressure you put on the healthcare infrastructure of government. Hardly any general hospital you enter, for example, in Lagos today, that you will find a bed space. Because the infrastructure is pressured because of the volume of people who are getting in here. And how are people getting these sicknesses? Because of these bad products. This is actually the money ritual. And people who are doing this should be treated the way kidnappers and terrorists are treated.
What about those who buy from them? They are also aiding this.
Well, you see, the issue is, for people who are buying from them, are you sure they actually will know that, or they're able to discriminate this? It's another thing. Because these guys are mixing this thing up with what is authentic and original. What's authentic and original? And I think that is where, for example, Valentis Imperium can actually make an impact by producing what it calls true mark, where we have independent assessors to assess products and certify them with a blockchain protected mark that people cannot fake. So it will be easy to detect whether products that are made locally, made or imported from elsewhere, meet the standard that has been set by the country. So if we have that kind of an independent assessor or regulators, then you will find that we can bring sanity into what is manufactured. I think people should use their productive energy to do things that are legitimate, rather than go into the business of producing things that are not recognized by law, or things that are fake and have potential to either worsen the health situation of people or outrightly eliminate them.
What about the retailers? Because some of these retailers are in cahoots. I mean, if you look at counterfeit drinks, clubs, they buy these counterfeit drinks and mix it up, just like you said, they mix it up with the good ones. So if you go to a particular lounge or club, you order the first bottle, they bring the original one for you, you order the second and the third, and they just slip it in.
Yeah, but again, these are the things we talk about value system, which is quite a big problem. You are not in the shoes of owners of those lounge and clubs, that they are also losing so much money to the people who are the stewards around there. And they bring their own drinks and sell alongside what is official to the club. See, like I've always argued, and I will not stop saying that, righteousness is what exalts a nation. Sin is a reproach to any people. And when you have a nation where you have a lot of people without value, where money means the whole world, you will not but see some of all these things. And I think that is where we are. But I also think that citizens should be enlightened enough to be able to detect some of all these things. So when you see the brand change their logos, change their design, they are not just changing their design, they are changing their design because somebody has succeeded in faking their designs. And is using it to package a product into the market. So to be able to now distinguish with what was old and what is new, they have to be able to change design. But that is also a cost on the company. And that constitutes additional value for the man who is buying, because you have to spend more money to meet up with all of these things. Struggle to beat between what is fake and what is right. So I think for me, there are a lot of people who are not just sincere. And I don't know really that we should be able to teach our children, because some of all these things are actually issues that have to do with parental failures. To teach people what values look like, so that when they see one, they can actually identify with it. That money at all costs is a sin to God and to humanity. And once people understand that and become their brother's keeper, they will not think of endangering the life of another person in the name of making quick money.
All right, and then what about some of these counterfeit products coming from outside the country? Should we begin to have some form of inter-agency collaboration so that it's what is being exported out of a particular country does not make its way or does not even get to the shores of our own country?
Again, it's same issue. When you look at who is bringing the imports, they are also Nigerians. This argument was held some time ago with the Chinese authority to say, why do you manufacture fake product for Nigeria? They say, look, we don't manufacture fake product for anybody. People come with their specification of what they want, and that's what we give to them. The same China is manufacturing for European market. They are manufacturing the American market. They are manufacturing for their Asian market. Why are they not putting fake there? It's to tell you the collusion between our people and those people who manufacture and say, this is what I want you to do for me. So we can't blame the factories there, but we can only blame the people who are here. That's why we're also appealing to Standard Organization of Nigeria to empower Varieties Imperium to produce a true mark so that all the factories in some of all these countries, whether it's Bangladesh, whether it is in China or South Korea, we are able to visit those factories and set standard. And any product that does not have true mark in it, that product should not enter into Nigerian market. That is the only way to sanitize some of all these things. If government is not able to do it, because yes, there may be a system that government has put in place like Cotecna, who may not actually be just paper documentation, but we need people who should be able to go to this factory to say this is a standard or this is the Nigerian standard, and ensure that the Nigerian standard is maintained. And any factory that breaches that Nigerian standard, we will ensure a lawsuit against them in their own country, and those who are breaking it into this country will ensure a lawsuit. And by the time you have demonstrated an example with 2 or 3 people, you will discover that the sanity coming to the market. That we can have a situation where you have like a Nigerian factory, a Nigerian standard that is globally acceptable. A friend of mine told me a story some time ago. You know this battery, what do they call this battery? I'm trying to remember the name now. Usually here, that red battery. Tiger battery. So he went to England to buy a battery and he said, oh, I don't have Duracell. And the man said, oh, what do you have? He said, it's Tiger. I said, no, I don't want fake battery. And so he said the shop attendant told him, I said, look, it's not fake battery. It's as good as Duracell, if not better. I will sell this battery for you. If you use it in 1 year and the battery on your watch is not working, return it to me, I'll give you back your money in England. And he said he bought it. And he used the battery after 1 year, so he went back again to the same shop to go buy more of the Tiger battery. So which means the Tiger battery that is selling in England and the one that is selling in Nigeria is different, but made by the same brand. So that is what you're seeing. So it's our people who are actually asking that we produce low standard in the name that we have a population that does not have buying power, and therefore whatever things that you feel they can buy, they can buy. And that's across every sphere. I remember some years ago, I went into a supermarket in a pharmacy in my locality, and I said, I want Panadol. And they asked me, well, is it imported Panadol you want or local one? I said, what's the difference? They say, price.
Same
and I said, why is the price different? They said, because the content here and the content here is not the same. But it's all Panadol.
Should we allow this?
And I think the country should not allow it. We should not joke with people's health and their life. So for me, that's blood money.
Blood money, doctor says. Then we'll move on to the next story. The Enugu State Structure for Signage and Advertisement Agency has approved a mandatory 150 million naira advertising permit for political parties and candidates ahead of the 2026 and 2027 elections. The decision was announced in a statement issued after a management meeting at the agency's headquarters in Enugu. The statement was signed by the General Manager, Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, Francis Aniwike. Now, the directive takes effect as political activities begin to intensify in preparations for upcoming election cycle. Officials say the permit is required for campaign-related outdoor advertising across the state. Doctor, I was thinking of running for a political party, but with this now, I don't have 150 million naira, doctor. Will you borrow me?
Well, you have to change career. I think that's the only thing I can advise.
150 million naira.
Interesting days ahead.
Wow.
2027 is quite going to be very, very...
Are we looking at revenue generation or just...
I think it's beyond revenue generation. It's also to ensure that visibility for some not too popular political parties is minimal.
Why?
Well, I don't know, in my village they said the instrument you use in killing your enemy is immaterial. What is most important is that your enemy dies. So you can decide to use a machete or a cutlass or use a gun. But what is important is the enemy does not survive. So this is what you say, because politics is a context. It's a fight. And it's a fight to finish. People work out strategy to ensure how oppositions are not able to take advantage of what they have. So, but in this environment, and I think the opposition must look for creative ways to be able to reach the grassroots, that with or without billboards or posters.
How would they do that?
That they are known.
Billboards would display everything.
You see,
it's everywhere.
Not many people look at billboards. What is important is the contributions of individuals to communities, which is very important. And this can be done what they call door-to-door movement. Door-to-door movement.
If it's a door-to-door movement, we're looking at palliatives distributing...
It doesn't necessarily have to be palliative. And I think that's where people miss the mark. Some years ago, I took part in political contestation in my local government. That was in the days of SDP and NRC. The whole of my community were SDP, even including my parents.
Wow.
And here was I coming from Lagos with an NRC agenda, because I have a friend who was contesting for chairmanship at that point. So, and I have to sell this NRC to my community people. And I remember those days, they would just tell me and said, mountain does not turn side. That's what the men were telling me. So I discovered that the men who were very politically very conscious didn't want to change. And so it would be amounting to wild good chase to pursue the men. So I changed my tactics to pursue the women and the younger adults. So what I did was to explain to the to the women that, look, yes, politics is not warfare. What politics means is that we are able to attract development to our environment. And what are the things that we need? We need water in the community. We need public school in the community. We need public health care system in the community.
Yes.
So these ones, once we have them, the quality of our life will improve. And that is exactly what I'm promising. And because of my pedigree in the community, a lot of people believed me. And we went into that election and we won. So what I'm saying in essence is that beyond people spending money is first and foremost, the people who are going out to actually do this door-to-door movement must have their own credibility. Because if you don't have credibility, it will be difficult for people to believe in what you're saying. So a lot of politicians have no credibility. They have not even footprint in their villages. So that is a problem. So when you have politicians who have footprints everywhere, people will even spend their money to push their agenda. So it is better that your name is popular than you have billboards. So I think so. And I think that's where people can channel your energy to, including yourself. So you should think of things that you can do so that your name can begin to ring bells in the constituency where you are contemplating contesting. And then make yourself popular and visible and billboard. So that for me is what it is. But I think this is a political move and calculation to limit and restrict political parties' visibility. And by the time it's only those people who can pay that will be there. And most of the time, government can always buy on credit. And it's only opposition who will not be able to buy a billboard on credit.
Doctor. All right, just as Doctor has said it, if you can afford 150 million naira, you can do door-to-door evangelism. The option is left to you. Grassroots is still there. This is where we will round up. Economic growth is not defined by borrowing alone, but by what borrowing builds. Nigeria's future depends on whether today's fiscal expansion becomes tomorrow's economic strength. The opportunity is clear. The risks are real. The outcome depends on the execution. Thank you for watching SOUQ Business Landscape, where insight drives decision and understanding shapes the future. I am Olumide Shokoya. Keep doing business smarter.
My name is Osamaza Idahosa. I tell you this morning, believe in yourself, believe in God. It doesn't matter what circumstances around you portend. You will make it, and Nigeria will succeed.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy, see something. This is SOUQ Business Landscape.
Welcome to Cashcraft, where opportunities meet insight. Today, we're journeying into the field of prosperity where towering oil palms wave not just leaves, but the promise of wealth. From the humid groves of Edo to the rich red earth of Delta, a quiet boom is unfolding. Though has been there for many years, but we could take advantage of this. This is one opportunity that holds the key to food security, foreign exchange savings, and thousands of jobs. Yes, we're talking about palm oil, Africa's red gold. But how do you tap into this opportunity? What does it take to build a business around palm oil, from plantation to profit? Let's break it down step by step. 1. Understand the landscape. The first step is knowledge. Nigeria's oil palm production has risen by over 41% in the past decades, from 8.2 million metric tons in 2014 to 11.6 million in 2023, according to the Food and Agriculture Organization. Yet, with over 200 million mouths to feed and rising global demand, we are still importing palm oil to close the gap. That's your opportunity to become a local producer or processor. Step 2, choose your entry point. There are 3 main ways to enter into the palm oil value chain. Palm plantation farming. Cultivating your own palm trees is long-term but rewarding. Now you can look at processing. Buying palm fruits, popularly known as banga, I'm sure you know that, and converting it into oil with machines. That's another one. And trading. You can buy and sell finished oil in local or export markets. Each has different startup costs and time frames, so you must match your capital, patience, and passion. Before I go further, remember that this is not a professional guide, rather a wake-up call that there are opportunities everywhere. Now let's go to step 3. Get land or source supply. According to research, some initiatives like the Edo Oil Palm Development Program, EOPDP, and Delta State Delcom scheme are making access to land to become easier. Findings shows that in Edo State, over 114,000 hectares have been allocated to both big and small investors, and over 65,000 hectares have already been accessed. In Delta, 130,000 hectares have been provided by communities under a cooperative model, with over 3,000 smallholders farmers already on board. Even if you can't own land, you can start small by sourcing fruit from cooperatives or leasing a small processing space. Of course you can. Now let's move to 4. Know the cost and time frame. It costs between $7,000 to $8,000 to cultivate 1 hectare of palm from nursery to maturity, but it takes about 3 to 4 years for the trees to start yielding. If you want quick returns, processing and trading may be better. You can buy a small-scale palm oil milling machines for 1.5 million to 3 million naira, or even less if you join a cooperative or lease. So let's go to step 5. Invest in knowledge. Dubai to Lagos, Nigeria, and across the globe, SOUQ News TV is your #1 station focusing on business, economy, and development. With global digital reach, we connect Africa's pulse to the world stage. Welcome to SOUQ News Television, and here we go beyond the headlines, from breaking news, in-depth conversational programs, to market analysis and indices. From policies affecting growth to unique documentaries, from live event coverage to bespoke productions, we deliver content that connects you to the world. At SOUQ News Television, we provide news surrounding business, economy, and development, infomercials and jingles that stand out, short and long-form documentaries crafted to international standards, independent production spaces with full technical support, special coverage for individual and corporate events, a special form of documentaries through our prestige package, Immortals, where we tell your story the way you'd love it, and business support services tailored for small enterprises. SOUQ News TV, powered by FemWash Limited, also home to the Isle 95.9 FM Lagos and Kasua 99.7 FM Kano, and Emirate News Television Abuja, together forming Africa's trusted media powerhouse. Storytelling, coverage, and connection that matters. SOUQ News TV, your home for business, economy, and development.
Hospitality is a very interesting and dynamic industry. Hospitality industry, very interesting and dynamic. And as we know, we have global best practices, that are acceptable. It's just like norms that are acceptable in the industry. So when you talk about global best practices, it encompasses a lot of things, a lot of dimension, in terms of technology, in terms of service delivery, in terms of training and retraining of staff, even the recruitment, onboarding of staff. There's so many things involved when you talk about global best practices. Well, let me just say the main challenge we have in this climb is orientation, education. In this climb, many people go into the hospitality business without much information about what they are about to go into. You see, the problem with us in this climb is education. You see, many of our hotel owners are not properly educated before going into the business. I've had series of experiences on the field where some people must have wasted fortune, and they will now realize that they need consultants. And by that time, let me say it may be late already. Before you go into any business, get to understand, how it works. The hotel business is a very complex business. Like globally, the trend is making sure your guests' expectations are exceeded. And so many, the technology is employed in making sure this is possible. You won't believe that up to now, we still have some of our local brands. In fact, most of our local brands have not even adopted the PMS. PMS is property management software, you know, where you right from the guest arrival, if I arrive from online, by the time you are checking online to know about the hotel, their products and all that, right from online to when you get to the front desk and throughout all your experiences, all these things are captured by a software, makes the experience so robust and all that. Up till now, many of our local brands still find it difficult to adopt this PMS. To them, it's expensive. To them, they don't see any reason for it. And this is what makes, you know, it improves guest experiences. It makes you satisfy your guests. You even exceed their expectations. Makes just at a point, I mean, just in the touch of a button, things are already happening. You know, in the Western world, they're already going into, you know, AI, right from CRM, customer relations management, service, CRS, and all that. They're already exploring using AI and all that. Here we are still on biro and paper. How do you compare the brands? The local brands are built around the owners. The owner, you know, tells you either he is knowledgeable or not about the business. He runs it like a one-man business. And at the demise of the owner, the business dies. Unlike the global brands. The owners of Marriott are long gone. And Marriott keeps multiplying all over the globe. Right now, they have about more than 1.5 million properties all over the world. They have acquired Sheraton here in Lagos, even 4 Point by Sheraton. You see them expanding. What is the secret? It's all about process, system. When there's no process, there's no system, then you are planning to fail. And it's a common saying that when you don't plan, you're already planning to fail. When there's no planning, many of them go into the business without proper feasibility studies. You know, a young man came in from diaspora, was not just last year, to invest in this same hospitality business, set up a lounge on the island. You won't believe it. 6 months, 100 million was gone. And he had to pack up and return back again. So what is happening? Why is it that the global brands are thriving and our own brands are not thriving? Meanwhile, we should even have some advantages over the global brands because it is natural. We are naturally hospitable. It is our nature in Africa. You know, hospitality, Africa is hospitality is Africa. You know, so all we need to do is to get the formal training and convert our virtue, hospitality virtue, into in a professional way and run the business professionally. Well, actually, it's not by the quality. We still have some boutique hotels, you know, that are doing very well in the country. They are already trying as much as possible to, you know, follow the global best practices. You know, it's not until your hotel is so massive and big before you can exceed your guest satisfaction, you know. No. Even if it's just 7 rooms, you can still have a brand that can be reckoned with. You know, a brand is not until it's massive before you can say you have a brand. You can have a brand even in a small hotel. You can create a brand. So it's not about the, of course, we have some hotels that takes care of the middle class and they are doing it perfectly well. But what I'm just saying is majority of them are not doing it well because they have refused to adopt the tech. They have refused, to follow, good processes. They don't care about training. As far as they are concerned, the staff are just slaves. They use them and dump them. They believe that if they don't do well, fire them, hire another person. Your business will be going in circles. You have to create a kind of linear graph, not the one that will just go up and fall down again. Try, to train your staff. Like I always tell people, if you don't train them, don't blame them. Because, you can't imagine spending billions of naira to erect a structure in the name of a hotel, and you cannot even onboard your staff properly. Most of them, they just employ anyhow, put their relatives, and they start running. There is no onboarding program, no vision, no mission, no core values, no SOPs, and as far as they're concerned, they are running a business. When the owner is not around, nothing can happen. And the guests are complaining. Why is it that you don't have these things in stock? You cannot tell them that our MD is not around. That's why he has not released money. That should be budget. You run such businesses on budget. If he has to release money, he releases the money, as at when the budget is ready and the budget is funded. So the business runs on autopilot. It doesn't have to be there. But most of these local brands, they want to be there to see everything, and it's not possible. It's not possible. Or else, like I said, at the demise of the owner, the business dies. What is the secret behind the companies like Coca-Cola, and all the Marriotts of this world, the Sheraton, etc.? What's the secret? It's because they have process and they have a system. So once there's no process, you're just wasting your time. So and like I always say, a brand is built. It does not come by accident. There has to be intention. It has to be deliberate. You have to be deliberate about building a brand. Well, the truth is, staff will always leave where they are not well treated. One thing is to say you are training. Another thing is the environment conducive for them? They are not animals. If they are well treated, they will stay. They receive training. They see a future in the organization. There's nothing like staff handbook. You don't even know your rights. You don't know your privileges. You don't know where the company's right stops and where yours starts. You don't know whether you are entitled to leave or not. In fact, that one is in the hotels. In our climb here, there is nothing like leave. You treat them anyhow. Why will they stay? But go and check out those local brands that have adopted these global best practices. Their staff are not going because they see a future. And the issue of trust, you're talking about trust. It's not peculiar with the local brands. If money can be stolen in the local brands, it can be stolen in the international brands. But the difference is the process. You see, like most of our clients, when we try to consult for, when we take over, I always tell them, look, let's put a system in place. Increase their salaries. Let their salaries be enough then those that were there with the wrong intention, by the time the systems are in place, they will leave because they know they cannot steal. Recently, in one of the hotels I consult for, somewhere in Ogun State, we recruited the maintenance officer, and they overheard him talking on phone that, it's like there are no lapses here. Barely 7 days, he was already looking for, lapses to explore, and that he has to leave. You won't believe, within a week, he has already given us a notice that he's resigning. Why? Because there's a system in place. Use this PMS we are talking about. Property management software. It has different modules. You have the front desk module, you have the restaurant and bar modules, you have the accounting module, the inventory module, different modules, and they all work together. It's a central thing. Even the HR module, whereby you onboard your staff on the software. Right on the software, you know whether their documents are complete or not. Those that are 80% complete, what are the outstanding documents, the guarantors, and all those things. But most of these people, when you tell them, it's alien to them. They don't believe it's workable here. All there is, and another thing, another dimension, another thing I noticed about our local owners is, how much was your sales yesterday? The next thing is he has taken everything. He's going to party. No future. The business has no future. And when the employees see you spend like that, see you behave like that, you are also tempting them to start behaving like that, to go into the money if they have the opportunity to, because they don't have a future in that business. They know their future is not guaranteed. Tomorrow the business might fold up because of the recklessness of the owner. You're building a business. Allow it to grow. Nurture it. Let it grow. Let it grow. Let me break it down. Like when I say the front desk module, the module has a lot of features whereby when your guest walks in, or either online, you can book online, and it will reflect right there. You can book right from London. You go to the website, the hotel's website, and right from the comfort of your bedroom, you are seeing the different categories of rooms, just as if you are already in the hotel. And you are seeing the attached rack rates. And you make a pick. And as you pick, you have the option of payment. And as you make the payment, you reserve the date and a future date, and you make the payment. As soon as you make the payment, it reflects right in the hotel on the front desk. For example, you picked room 107, and somebody else walks into the front desk and says, I want room 107. Sorry, it will show that it's no more available, even though you didn't see the guests, but it's been paid for online. Can't you see it makes life easy? It increases, improves the guest experiences. It makes your potential guests or your guests happy. Makes things easy for them. So you can achieve that online. You can also achieve it by walking into the front desk, and you can make a reservation. All you need to do is check the rooms. You don't even need to go around and looking at the rooms. It's displayed for you at the front desk. You have it on the screen. You see the different categories of room. You make a pick, and you make payment. Now, when you make payment, a receipt is generated immediately. Another thing is, there's what you call door integration. When you're talking about fraud, you integrate your door, that's the card system, not the iron key, the card system. You integrate it with your software in such a way that once a card is activated, because once payment is made, the card is activated automatically. The owner already gets an alert. In some software, it's called MRS, Management Report System, that a room has been sold. Either you are there or not. It's as clear, as simple as that. You don't need to come, and some owners will come and sit down at the reception to look at, to see what is happening. No, you don't even need a camera. Everything is automated. Nobody, no room can be opened. You can't access any room without the card being activated. And the card cannot be activated except payment is made. It's only the payment that activates the card. Can you see that control? So now another question comes. What about when you want to clean the room? How do you get the card? There's what you call, MasterCard, or, floor card, and all that, depending. Now, personally, I advise my clients, you don't activate a MasterCard to work indefinitely, to work anytime, anyhow. We have hours of cleaning. So your MasterCard is activated to work. For example, the checkout time is 12 o'clock. So you activate it in such a way that it's only active between 12 and certain, maybe 3 o'clock or so. Every daily. Once it is 3, you cannot access the room with the MasterCard again. You can see the tech we are talking about. So you can't access any room again. And again, we have energy saving lights, whereby it's only that same card that can power the lights and the TV and the AC in the room. No guest wants to check into a room without the AC working, without the TV working. So it's only that same card that can power the systems. So you won't check me in by 1 o'clock because you have access to MasterCard. And by 3 or 4, once your card is no more active, I'm in darkness. And again, you can always generate a report from the front desk that will tell you how many times, the kind of the entrance, whether the room was opened with the MasterCard or it was opened with a guest card. Right from the report you see. And when you go through the report and you see that MasterCard open at this time, you say, what happened? Why? Who was the person that accessed the room? So you don't need to be there. A particular client of mine was trying to lease out his hotel, which I always strongly advise against, on the island, because it was relocating to Dubai, United Arab Emirates, So I advised him against it. Why do you want to? I've told you to install a PMS since. This will give you some level of comfort, because his main reason is that I'm here, right under my nose, they are still stealing. When I leave, what will happen? You don't need to. And thank God he was able to take the advice. We installed the PMS and he saw the difference. Don't underestimate your guests. Even forget the color. They may be black, but they are well traveled. They've been to America, they've been to Europe, they've been to, Dubai. They've lodged in the best hotels in the world, and they know what good service is. So don't think you can just give them any kind of service anyhow. They have an expectation. For every, rack rate, for every money paid, there is a value, an expected value attached to it. Why is it that you see some guests, they lodge in 5-star hotels, they pay as much as 1 million naira, 700,000, 500,000 a night, and when they wake up in the morning, because of the kind of treatment, when they are checking out, you still see them giving out tips. They are happy. Meanwhile, this same set will go to some local brands, maybe as a result of lack of availability of such class of hotel in their village or in some, they have a function somewhere, and they pay just 30,000 naira, and you see them complaining and quarreling and getting angry, agitated, Why? Because of the service. 30,000 has a value, an expected value. Same thing with 500,000 naira. If he had paid 500,000 naira in a 5-star hotel and he didn't get the attached value, he will complain. But he paid 30,000 and he could not even sleep at night, mosquito, all through the night. The AC is not working. Why? Because there is no process, no system. All these ACs and all these things, they all have, you have a kind of maintenance worksheet, maintenance plan. It does not have to break down before you start repairing it. You maintain them. When the generator has worked for so number of hours, it must be serviced. How often do we check all these things in our local brands? Because there's even no system, no SOP, nothing in place. You just open and start running. It's not done anywhere. I gave an example of someone who brought in 100 million naira and the whole thing disappeared. Let me say, what we should know is that money is inflammable. The whole thing went in flames. That's how I will put it, within 6 months. Why? Because there was no due process. There was no planning. He didn't understand what he was coming to do. He just dabbled into it. In my book, which I will be launching soon in my event coming up, I call it ABC of creating a great hospitality brand. Simple, steps of creating a brand. I made reference to such owners as accidental owners. You just inherited a property, or you felt, okay, what is moving now? What can we do? They say hotel is bringing in money, jackpot. Many people have gone into it and they've gotten their fingers burnt. So I will advise investors, if you want to invest, do proper feasibility study. Do proper feasibility study. Well, let me give you an example, a practical example. One of my clients started a 23-rooms hotel in Delta, and according to him, it's almost 3-4 years now. According to him, he spent about 400 million naira. He's smiling today. Right now, there is no day that he does not have a turnover. You can do something smaller, even with 100 million, Yes, it depends. I just gave the practical example. I know of people that have just 7 rooms, and they are making their money every day because they've done, their due diligence. No, definitely, it will reflect on your pricing. And once, like I always tell people, is value for value. I can't be forced to sell my room 10,000 naira because my neighbor is selling for 10,000 naira. I can sell mine for 40,000 naira and still be fully booked. While the one that is selling for 10,000 naira is not even attracting any guests. Why? Because the 10,000 naira will try to say, okay, when it is 12, we turn off the gen because we want to conserve energy. We don't have money to buy diesel and all that. Start rationing. No guests will feel comfortable. These guests, even in their personal homes, they enjoy 24 hours light. They enjoy themselves. Then you now come, to a hotel where you should relax and be able to think properly. And they are telling you they are turning off the gen because they don't want to sell the room high. I'll tell my clients, sell it high, but create the value. When the value is there, make sure you recover your costs. You have to impute all these things, into your costing. Many of them don't even believe there is need for a revenue manager. Apart from the normal manager, you have a revenue manager. You have cost accountants, apart from the main accountant, people that are in charge of costing. You're selling a plate of food for 7,000 naira. What is the cost? Many of them don't know. And like I said, most of this software takes care of all these things. The recipes are there in the software, all programmed. So when you have sold a plate of rice, you already know how much is your profit on it. It comes to that. So we have to be very analytical. Yeah, majorly it's let me say government policies. It affects, like in Lagos State now, we talk of consumption tax. Then the federal will still come and say you should pay VAT, which is repetition. Consumption tax is 5%. Then the federal government is asking for 7.5. Is that not 12.5? How do you survive? You understand? So these are challenges, and that's one of the reasons, for the vision for my program, which will be coming up in September. It's called Hotel Owners Dinner Outreach. It sort of creates an environment where you have the policymakers, you have the stakeholders, the investors, the owners of hotel, the practitioners, all come together under one roof. Then we dialogue, look at the investment climb, look at the challenges, we rub minds together, and we come up with solutions, possible solutions. Like you cannot be up there churning out rules. You are so far from the players. You don't even know, you can't feel them. You don't know what they are going through. A client of mine, the road to his hotel is terrible. Very terrible. And it's hardly having guests. And this government arm will come and pay consumption tax. Another will pay advert. Another will pay different kinds of local government will come and ask for their own, So like this year's edition, we are bringing in the number one taxman in the state, for example, will be we call it investment roundtable. Will be in the panel. We have a representative of the international brand. That's the owners of Marriott Hotel in GRA, Ikeja. He'll be in the panel too. And we have the permanent secretary, tourism, who will be in the panel. So we'll bring them together. Then we have consultants, practitioners of over 40 years in the industry in that same panel. That's the president of AFCON. AFCON is Association of Tourism and Hospitality Consultants in Nigeria. He'll be in the panel. All of them. So let us discuss. Let's feel each other's pain. Let us understand. The government, tell us why you are taxing us like this and all that. So that's one challenge. Another one is power. Of course, there's nothing we can do about that. It's a national thing, and until it is solved nationally, we'll keep generating our own. While we always advise that, owners should look at, solar, which is environmental friendly. That's even the way, hospitality is going. We talk about sustainability, in hospitality, social, economic, and environmental. Those are other issues again, another topic entirely, maybe for another day. We should just keep it professional. Whatever you are doing, keep it professional. You're building a brand. Always remember that a brand is a promise. Make sure you always keep it. A brand is an experience. Always improve the experience. A brand is a reputation. Maintain it.
Let me first of all congratulate Nigerians for the 65th anniversary of our independence. Independence is a freedom that is given from colonial rule, which can be termed self-rule, self-governance. And since 1960, we've been having self-governance. What is it really self-governance? That's another debate for another day. But from what happened, we were very young at that time when independence came to the country. I'm very, very aware of the 1963 declaration of Western Nigeria, declaration of republic when Nigeria became a republic. That was when I can physically or personally remember. But then, a lot of things had gone underground. The joy of the independence has always been cut short and is not getting to the expectations of the people. It's difficult. The main thing is that every time a government comes in, we seem to be in a quagmire of difficulties, and we tend to go back to the past government that we said that they were not good and feel that they were better than what we have today. It's not only, all governments are always better, except the one I can pick out is during the military regime, 1975 to 1976, about 9 months or so. And maybe because that government did not last long. So maybe that is why we still feel that that government was one of the governments that really met the needs of the people. Throughout the years, like I said, we have always had shortcomings, but we have not been able to keep the standards, certain standards that we are on ground, and that is the main problem. Everybody wants to have his own way. The military had not really helped us. They have, every time there is a military coup, Nigeria is set back to 1960. We are reset to 1960. And the 1960 of that time is different from the 1960 of today. That is, when you compare them, what we have on ground today is quite different from what we had on ground in 1960. That means we are starting again. But we have to develop in our own way. We have to be open-minded, and we have to think positive. We have to think about their future, and that is the only thing that galvanizes the country. Now, whatever standard we have today, in 20 years' time, another generation will come up. And that generation, their needs are always different. So that is why we have to look for the future. But today in Nigeria, we are still solving the problem of 1970. Why I'm saying that is that after the Civil War, the Nigeria decided to move forward. In the process of moving forward, we forgot a lot of things, and that was the time the oil boom came in. And we forgot a lot of things we were doing at that time. Take a graduate at that time. A graduate in 1980 receives roughly 300 naira, which was about almost $500. But let's say in our naira, he has enough to feed his family, to start a family. That is a graduate. But today, A graduate doesn't have enough to even take him to visit his family in his hometown. As a graduate, you are entitled to a car loan, which is your annual salary at that time. A car was about 3,600, and your 300 naira, your 300 naira salary is 3,600 per annum, and you take a loan for a car. Once it's established that it is yours and you bring it to the office, you will be given a car allowance. And that car allowance may be about 50 naira or 50 naira. And when you look at it, they are deducting 50 naira or so, or 54 naira from your salary for every month for 4 or 5 years that you are taking the loan. And they are giving you 50 naira. So in 3 years, you are promoted to level 9. And on level 9, you are entitled to a car allowance of 72 naira. So it means that just like if you have been given a car for almost free. And those are some of the things that I look back to. Those are some of the things we enjoyed at that particular time. And it started eroding through government policies. And we now have this problem in which we cannot get to the minimum wage in those days was about 90 naira. When religion is a personal thing, that's the belief of the Yoruba. That is why in the same house, you can have the husband being Onishogo, the wife being Oya or Osun devotee, the uncle being a Christian, and another person being a Muslim. No, we all grew up together. During the Muslim festivities, we go together. I had an aunt in Ajegule. And during our holidays in those days, we used to go to Ajegule and we go to the mosque. Within that 1 month we are staying with them, we go to the mosque with them. We pray together. Even though most of the things, they started teaching us the alif, ba, ta, sa, and whatever, the alphabets in Arabic. But most of the time, by the time I go back home, I forget about it. And when they come to our place, they go to church with us. Even most of our Muslim cousins, they school with us. My mother will go and pick them in their homes, and they will school. They stay with us. We are about 20 in the house where we are living at that time. So it is not religious tolerance, as I will say. I will say, I've forgotten the word now, maybe like a respect. Well, if I'm tolerating you, it means you are bad. You get me? If I'm tolerating you, it means that I'm tolerating something that is bad that you are doing, but I'm not talking. But if I'm doing maybe mutual respect, yes, it's mutual respect. All religions in Lagos or in Yoruba land, particularly, they had mutual respect. When it is time for the Egungun festival, we will come out with our families, with them, with those that are in the Egungun. When it's time for the Ifa festival, we go to them. When it is Ileya, when it is Christmas, we are all one in Lagos Island, and even in Lagos at that particular time. The greatest disaster for Nigeria was the introduction of the presidential system. Let us start from the economics. In parliamentary system, you just have to win your constituency, and that's all. You win your constituency, you spend within your constituency, and that is all. When you get to the house, when you are not to pick the speaker or the leader of the house, that is when you interact with others. But in presidential system, you have the whole country is your constituency. The whole country is your constituency. Let's go to the grassroots. And the grassroots, the unit is the family. The family unit has broken down. not to talk less about of the extended family unit, or where a community is served like a family. The youths are not being taken care of as in those days. In those days, we never knew whether you are from anywhere in the world or in Nigeria. We interact, we never knew. In sports, we never knew where our people come from. In school, we never knew. At times, 60 years later, I'm just discovering that somebody is from Asaba, one of my classmates. Discover is from, we had the Odumakers, we had the Bazunus in those days. Went to school together, but we never even knew that he was not Yoruba or from Western Nigeria. We were all together. The unity, our unity has been eroded. Today, most schools, there are no boarding schools again. And that is you discover that you are only limited to your area, except when you are going to higher institutions. Even some higher institutions are within certain areas. So we don't interact, we don't intermix, we don't even know the culture of other people. But in those days, it was a little bit different. We have to start reshaping a lot of things, and in the reshaping, it's not for us, it's not for the present generation, it's to look for the future generation. In the socialist life in those days, they used to talk about what do you call it now? Absence of manual labor. That is, machines will do the work. We are human beings will sit down and just be looking, and machines will do the work. We are getting to that stage very soon. Even we are almost there. In those days, we used to have what we call telephone operators. That type of job is gone. In those days, every office has its secretary, or what do you call it, a secretary that we type, we do all these things. Now, that job is gone. The MD, the secretary is just to make arrangements. In those days, you have to have dictators, you have to dictate messages, you have to take minutes. Now, AI is doing everything. So there's going to be a lot of job losses. But in creating new jobs, that's a problem. The problem, and at the rate our population is going, is continuing to have a lot of jobless people. But how do we manage it? How do we get to that? That's the problem.
From Dubai to Lagos, Nigeria, and across the globe, SOUQ News TV is your #1 station focusing on business, economy, and development. With global digital reach, we connect Africa's pulse to the world stage. Welcome to SOUQ News Television, and here we go beyond the headlines. From breaking news, in-depth conversational programs, to market analysis and indices. From policies affecting growth to unique documentaries, from live event coverage to bespoke productions, we deliver content that connects you to the world. At SOUQ News Television, we provide news surrounding business, economy, and development, infomercials and jingles that stand out, short and long-form documentaries crafted to international standards, independent production spaces with full technical support, special coverage for individual and corporate events, a special form of documentaries through our prestige package, Immortals, where we tell your story the way you'd love it, and business support services tailored for small enterprises. SOUQ News TV, powered by FemWatch Limited, also home to the Isle 95.9 FM Lagos and Kasua 99.7 FM Kano, and Emirate News Television Abuja, together forming Africa's trusted media powerhouse. Storytelling, coverage, and connection that matters. SOUQ News TV, your home for business, economy, and development.
At the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC, we are committed to driving sustainable growth and development across Africa through innovative training and research. Our mission: empowering leaders, policymakers, and professionals with the tools they need to create lasting change. With customized training, dynamic research programs, and study exchanges on leadership, management, and other critical development topics, ADSC offers a platform for exchanging cutting-edge ideas and global best practices. We provide comprehensive services in research and consultancy, capacity building and training, education programs, publishing and knowledge sharing. Our esteemed faculty, composed of seasoned experts and researchers, ensures a learning experience that is insightful and practical. We specialize in policy development, implementation strategies, and monitoring and evaluation. At ADSC, learning is engaging and enjoyable. Our unique methodology includes talks, interactive exercises, games, video screenings, and lively seminar discussions, all in a comfortable and friendly environment. For more information, email us at info@adstudiescenter.com or call +234 912 039 2362. Visit our website www.adstudiescenter.com to explore our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
Adeboye is one who comes from a lineage of entrepreneurs. Her father, Chief Timothy Adeola Odutola, was a pioneer in Nigerian manufacturing and a role model for her business ambitions. This daughter of a trailblazer began a career with Nigerian Bottling Company and broke barriers at Cadbury, an organization she joined as finance and strategy director and rose to become the first female managing director. Let's explore the word of this amazing African business leader who's built a legacy of excellence, inspiring future generation of female leaders. Oyeyemika Adeboye comes from a lineage of entrepreneurs. Her father, Chief Timothy Adeola Odutola, was a pioneer in Nigerian manufacturing and a role model for her business ambitions. Oyeyemika was born to late Chief Timothy Adeola Odutola, a foremost entrepreneur of his time. He was one of the pioneers of indigenous manufacturing in Nigeria, alongside the likes Al-Hassan Dantata, the great-grandfather of business icon Aliko Dangote, and Louis Ojukwu, father of Odumegwu Ojukwu, a Biafran leader. Chief Timothy Adeola Odutola became the first president of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria when the body was formed. As daughter to the man who created a multi-million-dollar conglomerate, including 3 factories, a realty franchise, a cattle ranch, a 5,000-acre plantation, a sawmill, an exporting business, as well as established Adeola Odutola College and Adeola Odutola Elementary School in Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State. In addition to having a mother who was a very successful businesswoman, Oyeyemika was highly inspired towards business by her parents who served as role models. After her basic and secondary education, Adeboye earned a degree in economics and accountancy from the University College, Cardiff, Wales. In 1986, she qualified as a chartered accountant in the UK before returning to Nigeria in the 90s. She became a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales and a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants in Nigeria. She also got Executive Management Education Certification in Finance and Business Administration from the Institute of Management Development, Lausanne, Switzerland, between 2000 and 2007. Oyeyimika began a career outside the shores of Nigeria as an article clerk with a United Kingdom accounting practice. On returning to Nigeria in the 90s, Oyeyimika took up a job with the Nigerian accounting and tax practice of Arthur Addison & Co. for a couple of years. From there, she moved to Nigerian Bottling Company PLC in 1994, where she held the position of Finance Director and Chief Financial Officer for about 13 years. Returning to Nigeria from the United Kingdom proved a career-defining moment for Oyeyimika. She recalls the experience of a female English friend who worked in the UK as senior manager for many years, but didn't make partner at the same firm where other male managers were admitted into partnership. Among other reasons, the possibility of career limitation consequent on being female and black were good enough reasons to make Oyeyimika return home. In November 2008, Oyeyimika was headhunted to join the board of Cadbury West Africa as Finance and Strategy Director, West Africa, and a director on the board of Cadbury Ghana Limited. She was also a member of the Audit Committee of the company until October 19, 2016. She is a member of the Executive Management Committee and member of the Risk Assessment Committee of Cadbury Nigeria. She spent a total of 10 years and 7 months with Cadbury before being appointed as MD Cadbury Nigeria PLC in April 2019. She also became MD Mondelez Cadbury West Africa 2 months later. Mondelez International is the parent company of Cadbury Nigeria PLC. After consciously building a career in finance, strategy, and business administration, both in Nigeria and the United Kingdom, for over 2 decades, one can almost say that Oyeyimika had spent all the years preparing for the top. Her appointment as the MD CEO of Cadbury Nigeria PLC is a testament to the company's acknowledgement of fine talents. Position as the Managing Director of Cadbury Nigeria PLC. In April 2019, she was announced as the successor to Amir Shamsi. By this development, she became the first female MD of the company in its over 50 years of existence.
It's very important as you're growing your careers. You come here, you learn a lot, and this is a fantastic initiative, by the way. You come here, you learn a lot, and then you go out there and you're wondering what next. What I always say to people is don't limit yourself. You must never limit yourself. I gave you a statement. I said I'm a finance person. Today I'm a general manager. I did not learn general management in school. So whatever you're learning here, I'll call it a drop in your learning pool. Okay? You spend a year here, you learn something. Whatever you learn from here is a drop in your learning pool. Some things you will learn in life. You know where HR people, she's gone, I wish she was here. They always tell us that your development, 80% is in your hands, 20% is in your employer's hands. Your employer can do a lot for you, but all they do for you is really 20%. If you don't get up and do something for yourself, you cannot promote yourself and you will not grow your career.
Oyeyimika Adeboye sits on the board of trustees of the Timothy Adeola Odutola Foundation, named after her father. The foundation targets its philanthropic works towards providing educational, industrial, and technological development for Nigerian youths that may be unable to gain admission into tertiary institutions for their higher education. Adeboye is a member of the board of Odutola Holdings Limited, a family-owned group of companies. Oyeyimika also serves as the chairperson of the advisory board of Genesis House, a home for disadvantaged young women, which was set up by Freedom Foundation. She's a member of the board of the Parity in Income and Education Foundation. Just like Oyeyimika, Adeboye was able to break the corporate glass ceiling as the first female MD of Cadbury Nigeria PLC. Today, women are given the visibility and exposure that was probably not a priority in the past. While there is still a huge gap in the recognition and appointment of highly performing women into CEO roles, the trend is fast improving as organizations are intentionally taking steps to ensure that women get the opportunity to take on very senior roles. As part of her philanthropic work, Adeboye is a member of the board of trustees of YEO Foundation, which provides various initiatives to empower less privileged women. She also contributes her time to partner with Handmaidens WRLS, a Christian NGO which seeks to mentor and empower professional women along an ethical career path. Oyeyimika is a member of the board of trustees of the Timothy Adeola Odutola Foundation, a family-owned philanthropic foundation set up for the purpose of providing educational, industrial, and technological development of Nigerian youths who may be unable to gain access to higher education. For these accomplished women, only God comes before her family in the scale of priority. She enjoys running and spending time with her family over a sumptuous meal. Oyeyimika Adeboye's values are shaped by faith as a Christian. In an interview granted to Punch newspaper, Oyeyimika admits her faith-based values, which borders on integrity, is key to decisions she makes and work ethics.
Just do what you need to do and do it well. To your best, you know. Ms. Aoshika talked about it. To the best of your ability. Do your best. What do I want to say? Yes, I talked about it. I said be ready to make sacrifices, but mindful of your priorities. I want to talk about priorities. As a Christian, you know, and as a mother, as a wife, there's some things in my own life that I know are important. You know, when you're talking about work-life balance, so many things would try to tear you apart. You know, you have to have your priorities. So I took my priorities right. I said, in any decision, in any situation I face, I stick my finger out and I say three things. The first thing is my faith, my God. So if anything at work is going to take that away from me, I'm really willing to give up that work. You know, and I say it boldly that as a Christian, if I have to compromise my faith, then it's not worth it.
Growing up in a home with strict moral upbringing, she recounts her disciplinarian father never failing to apply the rod when it was necessary, as well as her mom. These values have shaped Oyeyimika's character and decision-making. The journey of Oyeyimika exemplifies dedication, talent, and the importance of breaking barriers. She continues to inspire future generations of female leaders. There's never telling where this wonderful, amazing woman is going next as she continues to break corporate ceilings.
Hello Nigeria, hello Africa. Yeah, this is Sound Man. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Babalola from Excel LED. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Shepherd Michael Adewale Onofuye. I enjoy you all to always watch SOUQ News TV.
Hi, I'm Tom Boggaballs, and please keep watching SOUQ News.
Wale Seriki, SLG Lagos Island East, SOUQ News, keep out.
watching them and keep a lookout for them. They're up and coming, and we're proudly to be affiliated with them.
You alone where they make me go crazy. This your love in the cool of my brain. You're my medicine, I need you all day. Yo, it's Blackface Nigeria and you're watching SOUQ News TV. Keep it locked on this dial, don't change it. You know what I say? Blackface Nigeria, love no bad.
At the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC, we are committed to driving sustainable growth and development across Africa through innovative training and research. Our mission: empowering leaders, policymakers, and professionals with the tools they need to create lasting change. With customized training, dynamic research programs, and study exchanges on leadership, management, and other critical development topics, ADSC offers a platform for exchanging cutting-edge ideas and global best practices. We provide comprehensive services in research and consultancy, capacity building and training, education programs, publishing, and knowledge sharing. Our esteemed faculty, composed of seasoned experts and researchers, ensures a learning experience that is insightful and practical. We specialize in policy development, implementation strategies, monitoring, and evaluation. At ADSC, learning is engaging and enjoyable. Our unique methodology includes talks, interactive exercises, games, video screenings, and lively seminar discussions, all in a comfortable and friendly environment. Ready to make an impact? For more information, email us at info@adstudycenter.com or call +234 912 439 2362. Visit us today at www.adstudycenter.com to explore our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
From Dubai to Lagos, Nigeria, and across the globe, SOUQ News TV is your #1 station focusing on business, economy, and development. With global digital reach, we connect Africa's pulse to the world stage. Welcome to SOUQ News Television, and here we go beyond the headlines. From breaking news, in-depth conversational programs, to market analysis and indices. From policies affecting growth to unique documentaries, from live event coverage to bespoke productions, we deliver content that connects you to the world. At SOUQ News Television, we provide news surrounding business, economy, and development, infomercials and jingles that stand out, short and long-form documentaries crafted to international standards, independent production spaces with full technical support, special coverage for individual and corporate events, a special form of documentaries through our prestige package, Immortals, where we tell your story the way you'd love it, and business support services tailored for small enterprises. SOUQ News TV, powered by FemWatch Limited, also home to the Isle 95.9 FM Lagos and Kasua 99.7 FM Kano, and Emirate News Television Abuja, together forming Africa's trusted media powerhouse. Storytelling, coverage, and connection that matters. SOUQ News TV, your home for business, economy, and development. Olumorok, Lishabi, and the people of Egala, a story of resilience and transformation. Telling the story from afar may not be as beautiful as visiting the historical scene for a more engaging storytelling.
I welcome you to the foot of Olumorok. So climbing the rock is in two ways. Either you go through the panoramic elevator or the stairs, but whichever way you choose to go through, I'm assuring you are going to land at the topmost part of Olumorok safely. So Olumorok is like every other rock you've ever climbed or know about, but it play an important role in the life of the people of Egba during an intertribal war between the Egba and Old Oyo Empire.
history and culture are the intertwined thread that shape the identity of a people, offering a glimpse into their past struggles, triumphs, and the rich traditions that continue to define their presence.
So from here we can have the glance view of the immediate environment around Olumo Rock, because Olumo Rock is centered at the middle of Abeokuta. But when we get to the topmost part on Olumo Rock, we are going to have the 360 degree of the view, which means the more you go, the more you see. So I want to encourage you to
raise up.
Raise up so that we can get to the topmost part of the rock. So let's move.
History is what we bring to you today. What is the connection between Olumo Rock, Lishabi, and the Egba people? My name is Grace Komolafe, and this is SOUQ Perspective. Let me take you on an inspiring journey through the history of one of Nigeria's most significant landmarks. Come with me.
I welcome you to the first level on Olumo Rock.
Thank you.
So this is the first level on the rock. Olumo Rock is in 3 stages, from the ground floor to the first landing scape. I want to inform you that you have climbed 120 stairs to come this far. Can you give yourself a round of applause for that? And I'm sure you are fit to climb to the topmost part in Olumo Rock.
I'll try.
That's great to know. So the first level of Olumo Rock is called Lishabi Garden. Lishabi Garden is named after one of our past warriors called Lishabi Agbungwakala. Lishabi was one of the warriors that fought for Egba to gain their freedoms from old Oyo Empire. It is a natural garden set aside for people to take relaxation after climbing the first level of the rock. Also at this spot, we have 2 trees that we can talk about. The first one is Dongoyaro tree. This is it here. Dongoyaro tree. English call it neem tree. It botanicizes as Adirata indica. If you get from its leaf and cook cassava and drink, it cures malaria. And if you drink from its stick, it clears bad breath from mouth. Also, its name is derived from an Hausa face, which means tall boy, Doko Yaro. This is a flamboyant tree. Its botanic is Dilonis regia. It produces some lump. Look at the branches. If you get from those brown pods, there are some seed inside it. When it dries up, if you tap or shake, give a kind of sound sheke sheke. And that was where the Yoruba derived its name from. That is why we call it pansheke in the Yoruba land. The pods serve as a natural musical rattle for traditional dancers, nursing mother to play with, before the invent of tambourine and some other musical instruments. When we go up on Olumo Rock, we are going to turn and visit all historical places. There are some shrines and worshippers around Olumo Rock. They are not harmful. They are here to showcase our cultural and traditional heritage. So I wish you a pleasant trip as we rock.
Olumo Rock, a striking natural formation rising 137 meters, which is about 450 feet above Abeokuta, Nigeria. It's more than just a tourist attraction. It is a symbol of Egba people's endurance. The story of Olumo Rock begins in the early 19th century when it was identified by the hunter named Adagba. Though details on how Adagba discovered the rock were limited, it is well documented that the Egba people facing oppression under the Oyo Empire sought refuge here.
where the people of Egba took refuge during the war. From that side, there are some dripping water. Some water is to drop from that side. It is tagged the medicinal water of Olumo Rock. Whenever the water is crushing, traditional believers always come to pick from its drop. And they claim it cures so many ailments in the body. But the water is not flowing now because God determines when the water flows. And this grave, that's the resting place of Chief Sonny. The grave of Chief Sonny. Chief Sonny was the OC of Itoko during his lifetime. Olumo Rock is founded between two communities. The entry point of Olumo Rock, where you came in from, is called Ikija, while the backside of Olumo Rock is called Itoko community. And this is a chieftaincy title in the Yoruba land. That is the chief sitting at the left of the king in palace. As we have the Otunba and Osioba, was the two top positions to the king. According to the custom and tradition of Yoruba, when a chief died, they bury the chief either at the front of his house, at his bedroom, or at his backyard. He must never be taken to a cemetery. That was why Baba was buried here. And this rostry roof building is the family house of Chief Sonny. The family has an extension. Baba dies on the 23rd of January 1956. 20 years after his death, government took over this place as a tourist site. That was why government decided to fence the family house so that they will not be blocking up the passage of the tourists. So the people of Egba took refuge here during an intertribal wars. The war started in 1830. Then the people of Egba were under old Oyo Empire. They basically want freedoms and where to settle. That was why they consulted the Fareku for lead. Ifa instructed the Egba to come and settle there. On their way coming down, they met a man on the road. The name of the man is called Adagba. Adagba was a great hunter farmer. He was the one that discovered Olumo Rock during his hunting process. During those periods, the entire city of Abeokuta was thick forest. Only the powerful ones and the warriors that could come around to do anything and return back home alive. But when the Ifa instructed the Egba to come, Shodeke, who was one of the founding fathers of Egba land, led the people of Egba down here. And they were here for years. During their stay, they took the natural suspension shape of the rock advantage and built their rooms. The rock is naturally standing. They only took the advantage of the shape and built their room. So the rock served as the roof of the room. 4 of the rooms they built as collapsed, remains only that. Those are the signs of the fallen rooms. That was where they kept wives and children. Men and warriors will surround the rock so that the enemy will not gain access to this place. All these holes we are seeing on the surface of the rock, that was where they do their grindings. Like we use blenders now, Yoruba call it Oluata. So the process of their grindings make the holes deep like this. After the war in 1833, the people of Egba asked from Ifa to confirm maybe they should leave this place to go back to where they came from. Ifa told them to keep on dwelling here, that this is where God has put an end to their problems. And that's how they derived the name to the rock, Olufimo. Olufimo means where God put an end to all our tribulations. Ibiti Oluwa fi ogun wàhálà ti dààmú ayé wa mọ̀ sí Olufimo. But people later shorten it to Olumo to gain a very short word. Another meaning to Olumo, Olu in the Yoruba land means God. That's God Almighty. Mo means mold or molded. The people then believe that God benevolently molded the rock for them so that they can take their refuge under it. Oluwa ló mọ̀ fún wa láti fi ṣe ibi ìsádi kúrò lọ́wọ́ ọ̀tá. God molded the rock for our refuge. So when they came out from the rock, others were asking the Egbas of their whereabouts, and they told them he hid herself under the rock. Under the rock or beneath the rock in Yoruba means Abe Okuta. And that was how the name got changed from Egba, and they started referring to them as Omo Abe Okuta. Also, the popular city of Abeokuta started from here. So if you have been anywhere around the town and you have not visited here, you haven't been to Abeokuta.
The name Olumo is derived from the Yoruba words Olu means God and Mo meaning molded, signifying God-molded rock. This reflects the deep spiritual connection the Egba have with the rock, seeing it as a divine creation that shaped their destiny. Today, the rock remains not only a historical site, but a place of cultural rituals, including annual sacrifices.
Over here, we have the main shrine of Olumo Rock, the main shrine of the rock. The main shrine is the local temple where the people of Egba worship and make sacrifices to the deities of Olumo Rock. Olumo Rock is an historical monument. It's also a symbol of Egba unity, strength, and unfailing protection. Because under the rock, the people of Egba took refuge during an intertribal war. And after the war, the rock has become a deity. That is why Egba people offer sacrifice to Olumo Rock once in a year with a big black cow. During the festival, only 2 people have access to enter the shrine. That is why the shrine is always locked. And the 2 people are the paramount ruler of Egbaland, that's Alake of Egbaland, and the chief priest. The chief priest is called Abore in the Yoruba land. Other traditional rulers in Abeokuta invited guests, indigenous of Abeokuta, will stay outside to say amen to his prayer. During the festival, the Alake of Egbaland will pray for the whole nation. He pray for Egba unity. Also the climbers of Ulumo Rock, so that they will not fall. No one has ever fallen while climbing the rock. Also at the shrine, traditional believers always come to make their requests in prayers. When the prayer is answered, those that made pledges while praying will come back to redeem their pledge, ensuring appreciation to Almighty God and to Ulumo that interceded for them. That is why we have those feather, blood, and cloth on the face of the shrine. Those are the sign of pledges people have been returning. And the people refer to the rock as Olumo Abelowo, Abelomo, Abeloro, Asadi Mulu Egba. There are 4 traditional rulers in Abeokuta: Alake of Egbaland, the paramount ruler of Egbaland, Oshilo of Okiono, Agura of Bagura, and Oluwu of Uwu. Traditional believers always come to make their requests in prayers. Maybe they are looking for words, children, or anything in life. So when the prayer is answered, those that make pledges while praying will usually come back with their pledges. That's why we have those feather, blood, and stuff on the face of the shrine. Those are the sign of the pledges. And the people refer to the rock as Olumo Abelowo, Abelomo, Abeloro, Asadi Mulu Egba, meaning a deity you can pray through for words, children, and every other good things in life.
You might be wondering about the historical issues between Oyo and the Egba people. How Oyo to exert control over them. The western region of Nigeria, primarily composed of Yoruba descendants, was dominated by the Oyo Empire, a powerful political entity that rose to prominence around the 15th century. By the 18th century, Oyo had become one of the largest and most influential states in West Africa, known for its sophisticated governance, military strength, and expansive trade networks, controlling neighboring kingdoms, including the Egba. The governance of the Oyo Empire was centralized under the Alafi, the king, who was supported by a council of advisors and provincial governors. This structure enabled the empire to maintain stability and enforce laws across its vast territories. At its peak, Oyo thrived economically through agriculture, trade, and craftsmanship, establishing itself as a vibrant economic hub. However, its involvement in the transatlantic slave trade created significant instability in the region, leading the Egba people to seek independence from Oyo's control. Who is Lishabi? No story about the Egba people is complete without mentioning Lishabi, the legendary warrior whose courage and strategic leadership freed the Egba people from the oppressive dominance of the Oyo Empire. Lishabi heroism is etched deeply in the annals of Yoruba history, as he led a rebellion that broke the chance of subjugation and paved the way for Egba autonomy. Lishabi Agbongu Akala, a native of Itoku, Abeokuta, was not just a fearless leader, but also a tactician. In the late 18th century, the Egba were subject to heavy taxation and constant exploitation under Oyo's rule. To resist this, Lishabi secretly mobilized a group of Egba farmers and hunters into a covert warrior society called Egbearo, a vital step in organizing the rebellion. With his deep understanding of the terrain and his influence over his people, Lishabi led a series of coordinated guerrilla attacks against Oyo forces stationed in the Egba region. His strategy was not one of open warfare, but a methodical plan to undermine Oyo's authority. By ambushing Oyo tax collectors and military detachments, Lishabi weakened the empire's grip over the Egba. His leadership unified the Egba people, turning their frustration with Oyo into a force for liberation. Following their eventual victory, the Egba people were freed from the oppressive rule. In 1830, this newfound freedom led to the establishment of Abeokuta, meaning under the rock, a city founded under the protective watch of Olumorok. Olumorok provided both a literal and symbolic refuge as it sheltered their people during their struggle for independence. From this safe haven, the Egba built a thriving community rooted in agricultural trade and craftsmanship, becoming a key cultural and economic hub in the region. Today, Lishabi Agbongbu Akala's legacy is celebrated not just as a warrior, but as a symbol of unity and resilience. His actions not only ensured the survival of the Egba people, but also contributed to the rich historical and cultural fabric of Abeokuta and the entire Yoruba as a whole. By the mid-19th century, Abeokuta had attracted European missionaries like Thomas Freeman, whose introduction of Western education and Christianity left a lasting influence on the community.
Inscription about the just a little write-up. The next spot is where we used to have the mamas. So this was one of the water pots they drank from there. Yoruba quality cocoa. It's for water storage and preservation. Water point, yes, as cold as water from the refrigerator, but it has been cemented for proper preservation. The Yalorisha, they are here as the custodians of the rock, and people do come to them for spiritual consultation and a whole lot more. So this is a crown tree. Crown tree. Yoruba quality Gia cocoa. If a king has to be installed, or they want to make a chieftaincy title in a Yoruba land, they pluck from the leaf away a cocoa to coronate king. But this very one is mainly used for the paramount ruler of this town, Lake of Egala, only for him. And the tree has been growing there for over 250 years. It doesn't grow than this. So it has been. Poster of the newly studied Yalumo, she's 98 years of age. And this is a poster reflecting the old Yalumo. She died at the age of 37 years, over 2 years ago now. They have a deity they worship here, they call it Orisha Igu. Orisha Egun, that's the deity that control longevity. They believe the more they worship, the longer they live. So they have other deities around. One of such is Orisha Ojubo Baluaye. Baluaye is the deity that control chickenpox and measles. Yoruba call it Shopono. So if chickenpox or measles striking all over, they do consultation from here. So whatever instruction they get, so once they follow it, everything that comes up will disappear to go. So that's Ojubo Baluaye right there. And this Ogun, God of Iron, the famous God of Iron. So we have a baobab tree. Baobab tree, B-A-O-B-A-B. In the eastern part of Nigeria, they call it Afon-Apunwa. In the northern part, they call it Kuka. Here in Southwest, we call it Gyoshi. It botanica is Adansonia digitata. The encounter of the tree is that traditional believers always come on there to pray for protections, because there's an adage in the Yoruba land that goes those. Wanipo do ikapa, apa okapa, wado ikai gyoshi, apa okoshi, wado ikakonga, konga oshi binukosi. Meaning there's no way you can wrap your arms around the tree. It is impossible because of its massiveness. That's why traditional believers always come on there to pray for protections. So that's the gyoshi right there. On the floor here we have the faces of the warlord, those that fought for Egba to gain their liberations. So their memorial sculpture was molded here, and the white share you are seeing there, that's type of money spent in the olden days. Cowrie share, Yoruba call it Oweyo, but now they know it for a fair consultation and traditional decoration. That's the olden days money spent in the olden days. Also they use it for a fair consultation. The ancient route to the peak of Olumo Rock. Before modernization, this is only means of going up the rock. The ancient track is a natural passage used by the warriors to access the rock.
As a beacon of history, attracting visitors from all over the world who seek to understand the resilience of the Egba people, showcasing various historical pieces, traditional items, and, on the other hand, the establishment and continuous celebration of the Lishabi Festival. In the evolution of the Egba from warriors and hunters to craftsmen, traders and national leaders, their history illustrates the power of unity and determination. Lumorok continues to tell the story of a people who overcame oppression to build a vibrant, self-sustaining community.
I welcome you to the topmost part in Lumorok. From here you can see almost everywhere in Abeokuta. And the height of the rock is 137 meters above sea level. That's about 449 feet.
This is the rich, unyielding legacy of Olumorok, Lishabi, and the Egba people. A narrative of survival, courage, and transformation. Now you see the connection. You see the missing link. I am Grace Komolafe, and this is SOUQ Perspective on SOUQ News Television.
At the Africa Development Study Center, ADSC, we are committed to driving sustainable growth and development across Africa through innovative training and research. Our mission: empowering leaders, policymakers, and professionals with the tools they need to create lasting change. With customized training, dynamic research programs, and study exchanges on leadership, management, and other critical development topics, ADSC offers a platform for exchanging cutting-edge ideas and global best practices. We provide comprehensive services in research and consultancy, capacity building and training, education programs, publishing and knowledge sharing. Our esteemed faculty, composed of seasoned experts and researchers, ensures a learning experience that is insightful and practical. We specialize in policy development, implementation strategies, and monitoring and evaluation. At ADSC, learning is engaging and enjoyable. Our unique methodology includes talks, interactive exercises, games, video screenings, and lively seminar discussions, all in a comfortable and friendly environment. For more information, email us at info@adstudiescenter.com or call +234 912 039 2362. Visit our website www.adstudiescenter.com to explore our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
My name is Shino Ogbadegeshin. I'm the CEO of Gozi Micro Insurance. Continue to watch SOUQ News.
Adenike Adeyemi, Executive Director of Faith Foundation. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Shepherd Michael Adewale Onofuye. I enjoy you all to always watch SOUQ News TV.
Hey everyone, Majuli Obaje here representing Gigi. Keep watching SOUQ News, okay? Stay updated with SOUQ News.
My name is Aton Kene. I am the head of MSME Banking. Please keep watching SOUQ News and stay glued to SOUQ News.
I recommend that more and more people should watch SOUQ News because they deal with business news.
Hi, my name is Amaka Wokolo. I am the director of the Faith Institute at Faith Foundation. Keep watching SOUQ News.
The National Assembly, in collaboration with the African Development Studies Center, ADSC, held a 5-day national capacity building workshop on treaties, agreements, and protocols for federal MDAs, with the theme, Enhancing Institutional Capacity for Effective Treaty Negotiation, Implementation, and Oversight in Nigeria. Honorable Barrister Rabiu Yusuf, Chairman of the House Committee on Treaties, Protocols, and Agreements in the 10th Assembly, highlighted the importance of strengthening the skills of key government officials in treaty processes.
At this particular moment of our country, we need a situation whereby all the stakeholders involved in external engagement with other countries, particularly state and the federal governments, and mostly MDAs of the national level, to ensure that they are aware, they know what it takes, they know how it will be, and they know what it takes to ensure the institutionalized democracy and the legal approach as far as ratification, engagement, domestication of treaties. That is why the 10th National Assembly, under the able leadership of the Right Honorable Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, mandated our committee, pursuant to Section 12 sub 2 of the Constitution, that we should reach out to all necessary stakeholders who are personally stakeholders on this engagement to ensure they know how it takes and they know how to execute it. Basically, that is the reason we are conducting this exercise.
Actually, I think there is no point for me to deliver my remark at this time, because I'm very much aware that my remarks have been delivered instead of distinction. So in either words, I will just say I sincerely appreciate your presence in this program, and I believe it will go far in helping the system, stimulating the system, and work for the Nigerian progress. So I wish you a fruitful discussion and a successful outcome. Thank you very much.
The major challenge, everybody is going silo in the sense that we are not trying to bring ourselves into the same table to ensure that before you find any entity, be it state, local governments, or federal entity, as far as engagement is concerned with other outside world, you need to know there are provisions of the Constitution which you need to comply. Failure to comply with that provision of the Constitution, whatever you do, it will go to a nullity, invalid, and is inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution. And to the extent of that inconsistency, it is null and void, and of no effect whatsoever. So we're trying to avoid this scenario whereby at national level or at international fora, Nigeria will be embarrassed because the stakeholders, the principal actors, they didn't even know what they are doing. So that is why we decided at this particular moment it is ripe and necessary to ensure that we engage with unnecessary stakeholders. That is the basic reasons for engaging in these activities. Actually, I recommend their effort to any other entity because if you can see, most of them, they are legal luminaries. They know their audience, they know what they are doing. So I really appreciate they did a very wonderful job. And I sincerely appreciate. That's the main reason that I say I need to be here in Lagos, at least to supervise the happening in Lagos, and I'm impressed. Engagement with outside world it is two ways. It is going to be either bilateral or multilateral. So with this kind of workshop or with this kind of discourse, we believe the principal actors will now know what it takes to enter a treaty. And if they comply with what they are taught in this session, if they advise their principal when they go back to their respective MDA on the right way to go, I believe most of the treaties will be legally binding in Nigeria, provided they follow the procedure laid down by the Constitution. The future is bright. And the future, we will ensure in the future that all the treaties, all the agreements, all the international protocols have been observed to the latter, have been protected and enforced as it is enshrined in the Constitution. And with this kind of workshop, we believe we will create a series of avenues whereby we will engage other parties, other necessary stakeholders. We just set the ball rolling, and we will be there, inshallah.
Also sharing insights on the workshop, the clerk of the House Committee on Treaties, Protocols and Agreements discussed the value of the training in improving the understanding and application of international agreements across MDAs. He noted that the engagement served as an eye-opener, equipping participants with tools for more effective negotiation and oversight.
I'm a Nigerian, I'm a citizen of Nigeria, and I want Nigeria to benefit from its interaction with the international community, and it starts from things like this. For us to be able to interact well, we need to know what it entails to engage in the international community. When we are talking about treaties, what does it entail to enter into treaties? How do we do that? How do we negotiate? How do we implement? How do we oversight as a parliament? So it is my duty as a clerk of the committee to advise the chairman and the committee members on how to go on all these issues. And also very instrumental to the organization of this workshop today. Our partners, the facilitators, are very, very excellent. We appreciate them. And it's also a collaborative effort between us and them. And so far, so good. What we have achieved so far has been fantastic. The participants are very, very impressed. I myself am impressed. And I also hope there are some things I am taking home. For instance, now, Nigerians used to think before that our negotiators who negotiate treaties will just go abroad, go on tea party, shopping, but it's not the case. By what I'm seeing here now, I can see experts, technocrats who know their honors, who take the bull by the horn and do what's supposed to do. That one has been established. Even our facilitators can attest to that as well. Another thing is that the quality of ideas being shown and being given us here is very, very apt to our situation presently, so that we can apply in our situation in Nigeria. And going forward, if this lesson continues, it's going to impact a lot, because MDs Many of the MDs are here. Even state governments, like Kogi State Government is here. The SSG is here. The Attorney General of Plateau State was also here. And also some top directors in the federal MDA, they are here. So it's a high-class, high-level engagement workshop. We are in a political environment, I must tell you that. But we, technocrats, are supposed to be the advisors and movers of policies. So they don't need to bend. They need to stick to the rule. And also to advise our government, our leaders, that as well as they are making policies, they should also consider the benefits, the interests of the country, not just politics. They should not play politics with it. They should consider the interests of the country first, and also the people. It's an appeal that everybody that has a responsibility to do, either in the public service, or in private sector, in government, do your responsibility as much as you can. In a good faith, in a sincerity. Don't put your personal interests above national interests.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is my pleasure to be here to make a closing remarks on behalf of His Excellency, the Right Honorable Speaker, 10th National Assembly, Right Honorable Tajudeen Abbas. He has mandated me to deliver this goodwill closing remarks. We appreciate your time, your dedication, and your efforts in trying to attend this program and attentively pay attention to the discourse and the further issue being deliberated here. And it is believed that this message you have learned here, or what you have learned here, will be passed towards your chief executive officers, and at the same time you will guide them achieving the necessary mandates in deciding issues of treaties, operation of treaties, and what have you. So at this juncture, on behalf of the Right Honourable Speaker, we wish you a safe return to your various destination, and we believe you will pass the message to all other necessary stakeholders. Thank you very much.
From Dubai to Lagos, Nigeria, and across the globe, SOUQ News TV is your #1 station focusing on business, economy, and development. With global digital reach, we connect Africa's pulse to the world stage. Welcome to SOUQ News Television, and here we go beyond the headlines. From breaking news, in-depth conversational programs, to market analysis and indices. From policies affecting growth to unique documentaries, from live event coverage to bespoke productions, we deliver content that connects you to the world. At SOUQ News Television, we provide news surrounding business, economy, and development, infomercials and jingles that stand out, short and long-form documentaries crafted to international standards, independent production spaces with full technical support, special coverage for individual and corporate events, a special form of documentaries through our prestige package, Immortals, where we tell your story the way you'd love it, and business support services tailored for small enterprises. SOUQ News TV, powered by FemWatch Limited, also home to the Isle 95.9 FM Lagos and Kasua 99.7 FM Kano, and Emirate News Television Abuja, together forming Africa's trusted media powerhouse. Storytelling, coverage, and connection that matters. SOUQ News TV, your home for business, economy, and development. Nigeria, rich in traditional and cultural heritage, is intentional about promoting history and retaining cultural values. The country has succeeded in preserving its identities and that of the forefathers for ages through folklores, folk tales, traditional ceremonies, community-based initiatives, cuisine, and most notably, museums and cultural centers. These institutions serve as invaluable repositories of history, ensuring that future generations remain connected to their roots and appreciate the diverse cultural tapestry of the nation. In Nigeria, there are over 38 museums comprising national, state, and privately owned institutions scattered across the country. Each of these museums plays a crucial role in safeguarding Nigeria's vast historical wealth, with collections that reflect the uniqueness of different ethnic groups, traditional practices, and historical transitions over time. In Lagos, the National Museum, located at the center of the city in Onikon, claims a notable collection of Nigerian art, including pieces of statuary, carvings, archaeological and ethnographical exhibits, among others. Of particular significance is the terracotta human head, known as Jema head, dated between 900 and 200 BC, which is part of the renowned Nok culture. The piece is named after Jema, the village where it was discovered. The museum is administered by the National Commission for Museums and Monuments and remain a key educational and historical attractions for visitors. Another prominent artifact housed within the museum is the famous Benin bronze head, an evidence to the artistic excellence of the Benin Kingdom.
The museum has a lot of functions, some of which are to educate, to entertain, research, interpretation, conservation and preservation of our cultural heritage. And then the museum was established, Lagos Museum particularly, was established in 1957. It was formerly referred to as Department of Antiquities. So, well, the journey so far has been interesting because, we are here, to showcase our cultural heritage, not just to the country, but to the world. And we've had, we have series of, events that we do, that involve the community. And because of that, we create that awareness that this is where you can come and, see and feel your cultural heritage, your traditions, your history. Because it is said that a people without a history is a people without identity. So the museum portrays this to the people. And over the years, that is what we've been doing. Through education, community participation, we have galleries, that we display some of our objects, our antiquities, that showcase our patrimony and all there is to know about our cultural inheritance. And so the museum, has been doing that over the years, and, we still keep doing more.
The Lagos National Museum was founded in July 1957 by English archaeologist Kenneth Murray, following the submission of architectural sketch in 1948 at a conference on museum policy in Nigeria. Kenneth Murray collected several traditional masks from Cross River State to display in the museum's early years, according to historical records. The primary purpose of structuring the museum was to preserve Nigeria's historical artifacts and cultural heritage. Fortunately, that vision has remained alive to this day. The museum serves as a significant tourist attraction for Lagos residents and international visitors alike, offering an immersive glimpse into the nation's past. Some of the remarkable artifacts currently on display at the museum include the bullet-ridden car in which former Nigerian head of state, General Murtala Muhammad, was assassinated, pictures of previous rulers and presidents of Nigeria from different eras, a diverse collection of cultural drums, tools, and ceremonial staffs from various ethnic groups, historical crowns and caps of revered traditional rulers symbolizing their power and authority, photographs of Queen Elizabeth II and her entourage during her visit to Nigeria, reflecting moments of colonial history.
is so immense. Museum is a reminder of what the society
Together, forming Africa's trusted media powerhouse. Storytelling, coverage, and connection that matters. SOUQ News TV, your home for business.